Good afternoon, folks. Welcome. This is Spoon TV Live coming from the parlors of the Executive Mansion. My name is Dan Slanger for the regular press briefing from the presidency.
Our regular weekly press briefing of the Executive Mansion. For those of you who are joining us online, I'd like to say good afternoon or good morning or good evening, wherever you are listening, wherever you are viewing via the different online platforms. I want to say welcome to this regular press briefing. Every Friday at the Executive Mansion, we update the media on the happenings of His Excellency and the different activities that are going on, especially as we have told the media that our intent is to have a very open conversation, an open space to regularly update the country via the different media members of the Executive Mansion Press Corps. So let me again welcome all of you members of the Executive Mansion Press Corps, and those of you who are listening via radio, let me say good afternoon to you. We will make frantic effort to also ensure that people in the counties can also follow through. We will be working with the Association of Community Radio as well as other local radio stations to be able to bring these updates to you.
You want to carry them back?
Furthermore, let me in this manual something that the tradition that we started.
Just follow it.
Welcome our brother Daniel Balak from Radio Bangla in Wall County. We want to say welcome to the Executive Mansion. Welcome to our regular press briefing.
Awesome.
We have tried to update the country via different medium. Last week we had someone from Renpasa from Radio Bezel. The week before we had Ketmount, we've had Wami, we've had RTV, and today we are going all the way there in Banga County. For those of you who will be listening to us in Banga, I'd like to say good afternoon and welcome to this press briefing. We will continue to do these things, and we hope that we can get to a point. Someone will just ask them, when are we going to get signed? And Maryland, we hope that we can get as far. We can get actually, instead of just sending, updates there and a different medium, we want to actually have journalists coming from those parts of the country to actually get a feel of the Executive Mansion, feel of what people here, so that they are able to report on what's happening. The president has been very interested. The president has had a very interesting week this week. But key highlight of that was the cabinet meeting that the president had. Cabinet meeting that took place on yesterday. It was a full day of, on the day before, it was a full day of cabinet meeting where the president had his cabinet and heads of agencies to come and squarely talk about the 100-day deliverable and other emerging national issues. The meeting highlighted key discussions on where we stand. The president was very interested in. There were also highlights on where we are with the roads, as well as the different issues in our agriculture sector, on our commerce sector, and all these different challenges that we've had over the few months. So there were briefings from the different teams on that, and the president was happy about some of those updates. And the meeting was very fruitful. It was a very packed agenda and a full day, began in the morning and ended after 5 p.m. That was on Wednesday. And as we speak, currently there is a briefing ongoing. That's why I came down literally in relation to the team of the assets recovery and property retrieval. The team is updating the president through the Minister of State with our portfolio special project that is the assets recovery team is lodged under Minister Steve Kuya and the rest of the team there to be able to give update on where we are. And what I can say to that, the meeting is still ongoing, just to let you know that the team is in high spirits. There have been a lot of important inroads that have happened over the last few days or weeks. And very important information that have come out. The team is working really hard to see how the government and the country can receive and retrieve assets that belong to the country, both through physical property, but also through financial properties, especially tracing where government resources have gone and for what purposes, if they were not in the right direction, and how it can be redirected. Additionally, His Excellency has started, we globally, this is the month of Ramadan, and Muslims in Liberia are celebrating or are fasting, and normally as a tradition, they are giving arms or giving some charity, like food items and stuff. That event has started. There have been some visitation to different mosques around the country. This is headed by the Minister of State without Portfolio Special Project, the Minister of State without Portfolio directly, Minister Mamaka Ability, who is ongoing that, who is taking on those initiatives, doing a donation on behalf of the president. So the team is already out there. The team started yesterday with the donations. If you see the team in your community, just be aware that this is His Excellency, one of His Excellency's many ways of reaching out to different communities, but this time particularly the Muslim community as they're observing the month of Ramadan, especially during these last 10 days. And we've always asked the Muslim community to keep the country in prayer, to pray for Liberia, to pray for the government, to pray for our country and ensure our country gets better and developed. In addition to the Ramadan donation, actually this evening, the president will be celebrating Ramadan with Muslims, with Muslim representatives and Muslim leaders in the country at a Ramadan iftar dinner. Normally during the break of fast, after we've spent the entire day fasting, during the evening hours, we expected to break fast. So the President, His Excellency Joseph Imam Boakai, will be having a breakfast this evening with members of the Muslim community there at the ministerial complex. And a very important news, this is a very, very happy one. As you all remember, a couple of weeks ago, the President traveled to Ivory Coast, and we updated you all about the purpose of the visit, and the team came back. This is to announce to the country that the Ivorian, through the President's visitation, agreed to double the power that was being received, the electricity. And the President got a briefing that the visit got very fruitful results, and the country has started receiving the increment in power supply. That is, initially, we were receiving about 25 kilowatts. Now it's been increased to 50 kilowatts. And that supply started, according to the team from the Liberia Electricity Corporation. And the President is very excited, and he wants me to inform all of you, the Liberian public, that has started, and we hope that the team at the Liberia Electricity Corporation is working really hard to make sure that that power supply that has been received trickle down to the people. And that is the most important thing on the President's agenda. Everything he does, his interest is for the Liberian people. His interest is to really see what impact his meetings, his conversations, and everything will have on the Liberian people. And we look forward to, again, engaging with you as we've always done throughout these weeks and throughout these press briefings. And thank you so much for coming, and thank you for taking up your time. And to all of you listening, thank you for your time as well and the opportunity to listen. Please feel free. One more thing, we have launched letters to the President. We started this initiative of engaging the Liberian population in and out of Liberia to have a conversation with the President. There are many people who want to speak with the President, so there is an email address. We'll be sending out more information about this on our different platforms, on the social media platforms, to let you know. But the email address is simple. It's letter to the President at emansion.gov.lr. So that process will help you communicate directly with the President. Once those communication comes in, we look through them and filter them and get the ones to the President. He can review them and reply to you. We encourage particularly our young people in high schools. The president wants to hear from you. Young people in colleges, young women, young men, just every sector of the society. We will also be embarking on a number of different programs that you are able to directly interact with your president. He's looking forward to giving a time where he can sit on the radio, speak to callers, speak to journalists, and the like. So he's very excited about telling the story and be very frank with the Liberian people as he goes along working for and on behalf of the Liberian people. Again, thank you, and I look forward to picking your questions.
Okay.
Interesting.
You have your question now.
Afternoon, Madam Fofana. I'm Diamond Slanger from the Spoon Network, and I've got two questions. My first question has got to do with the recalling of nominees. We've had the information there, the letter recalling 4 persons that were nominated. Definitely there hasn't been any sort of result behind as to the reason as to the recalling, which is the president's prerogative. But if you do have, can you kindly speak to that? And the perception in the public is, it shows there is no coordination in the office of the president when it comes to names going in and names coming out and names being recalled as to reasons behind that. My second question has got to do with the LEC that you just announced. I remember during the second major commissioning ceremony, the president said within 3 weeks, we would have gotten news as to the electricity improvement in our country. But coincidentally, it coincides with the rainy season in our country as well. There are those who will be skeptical as to whether or not the LEC at the Makofi Hydro Dam has increased their capacity because we are experiencing rains now, or this is just a political, flow show. We want you to please speak to that in details for us. Thank you.
She's taking questions right here.
Okay, thank you. I'm Julius Compton, and I report for Fortune Television. My question has to do with the just ended cabinet retreat. The president reminded his officials to declare their assets. I would like to know, will there be any punishment if they do that? Because this is the second time reminding them to do so. Thank you.
My name is Anthony J. Pham for ABC Radio. A little follow-up to Julia's question. You say that there is a low number of cabinet members declare their asset because the president continues to remind them. That alone is a concern to the public. Another thing is about 40,000 Liberians are about to be laid off by the CSE. More than 700 of those individuals are from the Ministry of State. Has that information reached the president? What is the president saying about the 48 or 40,000 Liberians that are about to be laid off because the president came for a rescue mission? What is he saying? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Bala, and I work for Radio Banda. In the President 100 Days Plan on the education, youth, and trade, it is recorded that there are ongoing construction of 25 schools, and that those schools will be completed within a period. Can you give an update on the statuses of those schools now? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam PS. Maurice Desmond, primary report for Kings FM. I'm concerned about the demounting situation. It's been a dossier of weeks, and we haven't heard any progressive reports. You care to update the public on the progress made so far by the team that the president set up? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam PDS. My name is Godfrey Badukwansa. My name is Godfrey Badukwansa. I write for Repost Media Network. The president is encouraging people to declare their assets. He declared his assets, but it has been published. Can you speak to that? Thank you.
Yes, again, Julius from Fortune Television. The Catholic community is currently experiencing, I would say, a massive demolition and eviction exercise.
as part of the ongoing, this current government, the uniparty-led government slogan rescue mission. Is the president concerned about that?
Thank you. My name is Anthony Williams, and I wanted to add to my colleague from Palm County's issue he's really raised, most importantly on education and training. During the president's inaugural ceremony, he made mention of his government's placing huge priority on ensuring that around 10,000 young people will be trained in the area of technology and digitization across Liberia. I have been reaching out to a few institutions that I believe are responsible for situations like this. There aren't been any new programs coming to Liberia for young people in the areas of technology and innovation. Since it's the president's priority, it's one thing on his agenda. Is there any news from His Excellency regarding this issue, ma'am?
Thank you very much. We will...
Hold on to the questions now. Answer the first batch, and we'll take the next question, please.
We will respond to the questions that you've asked, and thank you. Those are all wonderful questions. On the first aspect of recalling nomination, the president's prerogative, and I've said this a number of times, the president is, by constitutional provision, giving the authority, the sole authority, to appoint who he wants to be on his team, and as well as recall who he wants. So anytime, the president can appoint somebody today and tomorrow, he feels that I don't think this person will, carry on my agenda properly, and he's well in the constitutional mandate to do so. So it's not any issue of that, and there are a few instances that particular one has happened, and I can tell you the president is forming the cabinet, and the government is continuation, is going on. Even, I'm sure if you haven't read, before now we just, did some nomination very recently affecting a couple of different institutions, including the Ministry of Finance, Development Planning, the Financial Intelligence Agency, and a number of other institutions that we've, gone ahead to do. So the president is the president's prerogative to appoint who he wants to appoint, and he can decide to also recall who he wants to recall. On the aspect of the rain season, but I can tell you, government, business is a very important thing. There's a lot of things around speculation, and I would really appreciate journalists to work, hard around filtering in what the actuals are. If after this press briefing, you can follow me into the office, I can show you the communication that came in from Ivory Coast, about what the agreement has been. The president went and there was a request directly to President Alassane Ouattara on increasing, that, and he principally at that time during those meetings, he agreed, to speak with their own electricity company there to increase, what Liberia was receiving. That was the 25 megawatts, and now it's 50 megawatts. I can show you those communications. I really appreciate journalists to really give, sometimes just give the institutions or the government the benefit of the doubt and see for yourself, do your due diligence. But there's nothing on a political show. We know, yes, the rain season is almost here. We're not fully in the rain season yet, but this is the thing. We've received that, and from the agreement, it started on April 1, and today is what the date is today. So we already into that, and the Liberia Electricity Corporation did brief the president actually in writing that we've started, and they've started receiving, what's promised to the corporation because of the meeting the president had. On the issue of access declaration, the president is very clear on access declaration. He's encouraged his ministers to do that, and he just had a third cabinet meeting, as I said on Wednesday, and he will be also telling them very clearly, I'm sure there will be some other disciplinary actions in the pipeline, but this is something that he hasn't told me or he hasn't said. But I do believe that he's very clear, and he encourages all of them to declare their access, and all government officials by the way, not only cabinet ministers, but all officials of government to follow the law. The code of conduct does require, government officials to declare their assets. We're encouraging them, and we have reminded them again. On the issue of whether the numbers are low, the thing about assets declaration is not required to make it public. So there could be possibilities that there are more ministers and government officials who declared and they decided not to make it public. And as you know, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is not required for them to make those information public. It's up to the person who's declaring their assets to say, I am choosing to make it public. But once you deliver your assets, there's a whole process of verification. They do that, and they have those procedures and proceedings over there. So whether or not the numbers are low, I can't say because I've not asked LACC, but also the ministers have not told me that they sign up, so I wouldn't know whether the numbers are low. But I can say he did encourage those who have not. I can tell you there are a number of ministers who have already declared their assets. On the issue of the civil service and whether or not the 700 people who were here at the Ministry of State. So the 700 is quite a different category according to the CSA cost, because the 700 here, these are people who were on supplementary payroll. And we said here last week that the government does not have resources to pay people on supplementary, statuses, because the government, there are procedures in which you can go through. And interestingly, in our earlier announcement today, there was the CSA Board of Appeal that was set up. So we will encourage anyone, any civil servant who may be impacted by any of the different processes that CSA is undertaking to kind of go through the appeal process so that you can have reaches. But on the issue of the 40,000 civil servants, there's a whole process that's ongoing. There's a review of that. It's not that there are 40,000 people that are going to be laid off. I think that's a communication, but it's not. Maybe it's the way people have interpreted it, but it's not the situation. But the situation actually is, it's a review, it's an audit that's ongoing with 40,000, civil servant personnel who, at the end of the audit process, then you will know actually the statuses of individuals who are within that category. And there are different categories of who's in what category, whether they're people. Some of us, when we entered in the civil service back in the day, we had to go through civil service tests. And after tests, you have to go through this process, you have to do a lot of different things. So the CSA is working really hard to ensure, to bring back that process of ensuring that before you come through the civil service, you go through the proper channel. And that is all by this. And the president is very excited about, the procedure in strengthening, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to have a very strong civil service, because you don't want your talent, every individual comes with a talent, comes with the time. You don't want your talent and time and resources, your personal resources, to be underutilized. Because if you just go into a process where they just grab you and say, come here, or because of certain favors, come do this job, come here, and you will be underutilized. So the civil service is about to be strengthened, be trained, and throughout that 40,000 process that the review and audit is going on, you will see at the end of the day what those recommendations will be. And the CSA is working along with all the stakeholders involved, the different agencies that these different civil services are working on, the LACC, the GAC, all those stakeholders that are involved with the process. On the issue of the construction of schools, there are a number of interventions that are currently happening across the education sector. And interestingly, the Minister of Education just returned from the Southeast and briefed the President last week about some of those challenges that are there. The challenges are appalling, I can tell you, and some classrooms don't have teachers, some of them having, people having broken windows, broken ceilings, the kids sitting on the floor, kids are not properly uniformed, and a whole bunch of challenges. And the minister did brief the president to talk about her experiences, and all of that, and particularly on the issue of the 100-day and the education. It's well on course, and it's going to happen. On the issue of Clear Mountain, my my brother who asked about beer mounting. I can see the beer mounting. Okay. So yes, on beer mounting, the person had received briefing. The team did go to beer mounting. Some of them spent a number of days there, visited the mines, interacted with the leadership there, interacted with the community, and did follow up on a lot of different issues. And in fact, the labor minister also had a press briefing when he returned, when he came return with a report about some bad labor practices. And the president is very concerned. Interestingly, the president did hold a meeting with the M&G Gold, the parent company of BMMC, and he was very clear with the leadership that that he is very clear that even though they're doing business, they're providing job opportunities, but they cannot use that to undermine or mistreat or ill-treat the Liberian citizen. And he's been very clear with them, and he is closely following the situation, and as time goes by, you will see some specific actions taking as the Minister of Labor and the team have briefed the President. On the issue of the Catholic community, the situation of the Catholic community is such that, private property and court orders, those things, happens. And the president empathized with the community and the victims that have been evicted, and he's following the situation and will take the appropriate action. On the issue of the 10,000 young people to be trained in ICT, and somebody said they've not seen any ICT program in the country. There are a number of, even on a private scale, there are a number of ICT programs happening in the country. There are a number of computer schools. So that from a general perspective, of course, a lot of things is happening. A lot of things are happening in the ICT world. But particularly on the 10,000 training opportunities that the president did mention, as you know, this falls squarely under the LTA, and this is something that the team briefed the president that all works have been done, and as we all know, we still haven't had the budget being passed, but almost everything surrounding the preliminary process, the team there have updated the president that, it's just waiting, it's just on a, let's get to work and do this. So we're on course, the team that is going to ensure that these different initiatives go under currently happening. One of the other issues I will talk to you guys about is some of the, especially on this current assessment that's happening across agencies. The Minister of Youth and Sports, especially talking about young people in training, the Minister of Youth and Sports briefed the President on how there are some training institutions that are in the country. Some institutions who, people pay resources every year in the national budget, certain amounts that are going to individual pockets, and this is something that their specific actions will be taking, and those things will be clearly spoken to the Ministry of Finance. And the President is very concerned on those things, and his interest is providing opportunities for actual people, people who will benefit, the young people across the length and breadth of the country. So we'll take the next batch of questions and conclude with this briefing.
Okay.
Thank you again, Madam Press Secretary. To my question that talked about the recalling of nominations, I clearly said the President has got the constitutional right. It's about the optics. If you are to give an assignment to a student, and whenever you give that assignment and the person writes and erases, the optics there is either you don't know what you are saying or you just didn't know what to do at the time. So my question about the optics and who's in charge. Is the President 100% in charge? And if so, why are we getting these recalls? My next question is the issue of I want you to confirm, because we did get this information, and I want you to confirm whether or not President Boyka has placed a quarantine order on containers that were brought in the country, containers of money that were brought in the country by the Central Bank of Liberia. We want you to please confirm or deny whether such a quarantine has been placed, and if it's a confirmation, what is the reason behind the quarantine, if it has been passed by the President. Thank you.
More questions?
Thank you very much. Anthony here again, madam. And regarding my previous question, I actually got the actual answer I wanted from you, but I didn't mention that there weren't any tech institutions in the country. That wasn't what I meant. Now to my question, the next one. Over the week, I had the opportunity to sit with the LDA boss, Mr. Abraham Kurma, and he was pleading with Mr. President to have a relook at the allocated budget for the fight against drug. He doesn't believe $2 million is sufficient for the LDA to fight against drugs. In fact, he is recommending to Mr. President to call on the Finance Ministry and see if they can step things up. I want to know if it has reached Mr. President's attention.
Thank you, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Joseph Daniels, and I report for OKFM. On a general note, we have like 26 days to President Bouaga's 100 days in office. Where are we as it relates to the deliverables? Or will the president, is he confident of achieving his 100 days deliverable as spelled out in his document release? My next question is the issue of the office of the ombudsman that was set up. How soon will we see this operational? And why did the president make it a priority? I'm interested in knowing more about that. And finally, let me add to my colleague from SPON relating to the appointment issue. Two of those appointments that were withdrawn, they have linked it to their persecution of former Councillor Gloria Musu Scott. What's the executive mansion reaction to their accusation? Because they have both posted on their social media pages relating to a trial in which they serve as prosecutors. Thank you.
More questions from journalists
my name
from
is
the Executive Mansion Press Corps. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here for the Spoon Network. The Presidential Press Secretary, Kuda V. Fofana, is addressing the nation through the media. This is a regular presentation every Friday here at the parlors of the Executive Mansion.
What are you talking about? Yesterday, it's good to declare access, but in terms of publication, it's not compulsory. Why not compulsory? Because if you talk about asset declaration, the component of that portion, when you declare access, I think the standard moral is good that you be able to publish it. The standard moral of the asset declaration, I think it's necessary to do a publication so that the public will be able to know what you have actually declared and the value of what you have declared as well. And the next question, the issue about the extension of the bank note time frame. The public is still a public outcry among citizens in this country. I don't know, is there a growing concern to the president about Liberians should still continue the use of the bank note? Because the issue about
Can you slow down and ask the question clearly?
Is the president concerned about the continued public outcry about the use of the bank note? The old bank note?
Okay, what is the public outcry?
Then the back and forth, you go to do commercial business, people will say, no, we don't want the money, we don't want the money. Then
Okay, all right.
All right, then sure. Okay.
Yes, again, Julius Hunter. There is this letter circulating. My question is for confirmation and clarity that the president nominated Councillor Murphy Kane as Deputy Director General NASCOP. I'd like to get a clarity because as of to the press time, that particular name has not surfaced on your website or the Executive Mansion Facebook page. Just a clarity.
All right, Madam PPS, thank you so much. My name is Yogbedi Masale. I work for Sky Communications, Sky FM, and Sky Television. I'm concerned about energy. You talk about the government of La Côte d'Ivoire increase our energy sector to 25%. I want to know as to whether this will bring the kilowatts per hour, the rate of the kilowatts per hour down.
My name is Anthony Jeffan for ABC Radio. When the president addressed Liberians, he declared drugs as a national emergency, calling on all of his officials to take drug tests, beginning with him, Mr. President, and Mr. Vice President. Up to today's date, we've not gotten a report about the number of government officials who have taken the drug test. And I think when the president says, I am taking the lead, it means when you are nominated or appointed or commissioned, you should be able to report to the president that you have taken your drug test. Where are we with that? Thank you.
Till we're done with the questions, Press Secretary, up to you.
Well, thank you all very much. And before I go to answer the questions, I will encourage the different institutions here represented: Fortune TV, Spoon, ABC Radio, ELBC, and all of you, Sky and Banga, everybody. But please encourage female journalists to come to these meetings. You have them represented. Some of you are the managers of your different entities. You invite the women, you get the female journalists. If you're finding it difficult to get female journalists, please talk to FIJA. I'm sure they have a full list of all the female journalists in Liberia. And if you're having some issues of hiring, if you talk to them, they will probably have some ideas on what to do. But please, I feel lonesome here today, especially, at least last week there were a few women, but today I'm in the midst of all these gentlemen. But anyways, that's just the fun of it. But on a more serious note, please, this is to encourage the female journalists to take up some of these assignments. And in fact, I know that a number of requests that I've received for institutions that are intending to be a member of the press code. And I know those institutions, so please recommend female. If you do not know where to find the females, ask us. We'll help recommend some female journalists, or we'll talk to FIJA, and others to do that. But please, look at the female journalists. Look at the women in these things. Women can do it too as well. On the issue about optics, life in itself, we do not intend to really dignify some of the conversation around, who's in charge, who's not in charge, because these are all, sentimental conversations. But I can tell you, His Excellency President Joseph Imam Boakai, I will tell you emphatically, he is in charge. He decides who he wants on his team, and he decides who he doesn't want. And this is something that you saw the letter he wrote. He self-signed those letters. So this question about who is in charge, who's not in charge, we understand these are all, the politics of things, but at the end of the day, the President, His Excellency Joseph Imam Boakai, is in charge of the Republic of Liberia, of the working of the Executive Mansion. As I speak, the President is at work, he's having meetings every day. In fact, most of you, this is a beat, but the people who are stationed here, they will tell you sometimes he leaves this office almost 9 p.m., almost 10 o'clock at times, and he's still at work. He's reviewing, he's making decisions, he's having meetings. How can somebody not be in charge and do all those things? And he's recalling, he's appointing, he's doing all those. And those are directly within his constitutional mandate. And again, let me say this. He is in charge. And there is only one president of the Republic of Liberia, and that president is His Excellency Joseph Imam Boakai. On the question of containers coming in, whether or not they were quarantined and whatnot, I've not received the information. Once I receive them, once the president gave me updates on whatever warranty or guarantee or quarantine you put on anything, I will be the first person who will send for aid. Madam Fofana, I need to see you now. Even like, for a typical example, like the communication that he received around the actual electricity that been given an update from LEC, he did send for me and said, Madam, you have to let the media know that, we're currently receiving, the additional 25 kilowatts of electricity. And that's why I'm informing you here today. On the aspect of the LTE, the president is as well concerned about the LTE, and the heads, Mr. Ibrahim Kumar, have also briefed the president on the need. In fact, that briefing happened in the joint security meeting, and all of us know that what it takes to really fight drugs and narcotics in our country is a huge sector. And he's had conversation. The head have also submitted budget to him for his review to see, and they've had, so there's active conversation happening around what needs to happen. And one of the good things, like I told you all last week, is that the president there's a whole network of donor community that he's in touch with, and they're willing to support this effort. Because the issue of drug addiction or drug and alcohol is a cross-border issue. It's a global, in fact, it's a whole international issue. It's an international crime, the issue of narcotics, because Liberia, we're not, producing or developing drugs here. So we are not the source, but they come through our borders. So it's a form of a transnational or trans-international, if you will, along those lines. So he's very concerned about it, and that's why that part of it is not addressed, as well as it's Sona, he can talk about the setting up of the team that he already set that up, headed by the Minister of Health, and the team have really been working along with the LDA. So in fact, one of their work that they have done is to review the current facilities that are providing services for young people, so that they're able to see where the key challenges are, instead of just grabbing all these young and able-bodied men and locking them up, find some form of rehabilitation. So there's a full package happening, and LD is on top of it. The resources has been sorted, it's been looked at, it's been looked for, and you will hear some updates on where that is. But yes, he has briefed the president on top of it, and he's very concerned about it. Somebody asked about where we are on 26 days. So I wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I can tell you, by the 100th day, we will have His Excellency speaking to the nation to update the country on his first 100 days, what he's seen, what he met, and what he's done, and what he intends to do going forward. So just bear in mind, we will get there. And you will hear in clear terms from His Excellency, the Chief Executive, on where we are on our deliverables. In terms of the office of the Ombudsman, yes, the appointment was just made. Interestingly, you say why the president is so urgent, and other people say why it's so late. But again, that's government and that's governance. Things happen. But the importance of the office of the Ombudsman, if you see, there's a code of conduct. And the Ombudsman, the team there will be to implement the code of conduct. And as you all know, the code of conduct is something that the president is interested in, because, in fact, as we talked earlier about reminding cabinet ministers and government officials to declare their assets, as you will know, the Ombudsman office will also be one of the places to deal with, all of that, especially in regulating people of government on what they're supposed to do or not supposed to do. Okay, on the question of linking the withdrawal to the prosecution of Glorious Musu-Sparks, the former Chief Justice. Again, sometimes just this speculation, people will always have things to say. Our intent here is not to dignify or to delve into the all speculative thoughts, but I can tell you what you said, and to remain firm that His Excellency President Joseph Imam Boakai is in charge. He is implementing his constitutional duty. He appoints and he decides who he doesn't want on his team. And so he's done that to a number of other persons, because the list that somebody talked about, it was not just 2 persons. So what would you say about the other 2 or the other people? But I would just say that it is the prerogative of the president, not to go into all the different speculations that someone says is because of that, is because of the other thing. But I can tell you it's the president's prerogative to hire and ask people who he doesn't want to lead his ship. Whether there's a heading agenda on access declaration, maybe that question should be put to the law, because it didn't say that when you declare your assets, you should make it public. But by practice, I mean, it will be good that people who come to public offices, when they come and declare their assets, they should be able to make it public. But again, it is not mandated by law. It is people's own self-violation. You can do it if you want, but it's something that is encouraged, especially on the mark of good governance and whatnot. So it's not compulsion, but most places, public officials, it's expected that once you declare your assets, you make it public. So again, the law is clear, and I encourage you to follow or read the law. Extension of the bank notes, the time of the bank note. I didn't quite understand your question in clear terms, but I would just say that I think what I've read also is that they've extended the time of changing the bank notes, especially the old ones. Some of the old bank notes are torn, and it's important to clear that out, and they've extended the time. And that is ongoing. It's an ongoing process as well. And I've also heard that the coins has also been brought back to markets. So when you go to the shop, please let's utilize the coin. I don't show the coins there. When we give you the coins, please put it into the economy so it can go around. On the issue of the nomination of Mr. Moebi Kane at NASCAR, absolutely, that's correct. He was nominated. I've seen his communication at NASCAR. Somebody talked about the energy, 25%. I didn't quite understand the question, but what I gathered, I think you were interested in knowing whether
that will bring the reduction of the kilowatts per hour.
Okay, so what I do know, what is the actuality is that we requested, we were receiving 25 kilowatts coming to Liberia, and now there's an additional 25 kilowatts in addition, so it's going to be 50, and at a particular time, at the high peak, so from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., you have the 50 kilowatts, and during the evening hours, it goes back to the 25 kilowatts per hour, and then between now till June, and then in July, then there will be another phase that will be, so in phase 1, that is the plan, and then phase 2, the plan will be also discussed. In terms of the number of persons who have taken drugs tests, the point about the drug and alcohol, as I spent a little time on talking about it, the president is very clear and concerned about it, and as we all know, all of our families, one way or the other, are affected with the needs. And that is why the president is clear about showing that the issue of drug and alcohol is reduced. But in terms of testing, particularly for drug, whether public officials, so when the president did the test, there were a number of officials, especially members of the team, the committee that was set up by the president, they all came through, and then additional officials of government have done the test. And it's also as well encouraged for officials to do. Again, thank you all for coming to these press briefings, and I look forward to seeing you all here again next week. But also those of you who are here, we want to also invite you to the iftar this evening around 6:30. You should be there 6:30. Especially those with invitation. Let me say, before people listening back on the radio say, let me go there because the first secretary has invited the entire country. That's not the situation. It's by invitation only, but I'm talking this to our media people who will be allowed in to be able to cover the event. Thank you so much, and let me say this, our brothers and sisters, I think this is the last Friday in Ramadan, and so the next Friday, it will not be Ramadan, so let me just wish all of us happy Ramadan, and enjoy the iftar, pray for the country. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, have a wonderful Friday.
Press Secretary Fofana, Presidential Press Secretary, addressing members of the media here at the regular executive function.
Press Secretary does the regular press briefing every Friday. So just a recap of some of the things that they company to increase Liberia's government, that's the electricity supply, from 25 megawatts to 50 megawatts. But in her further explanation, the press secretary has said it is not going to affect the entire power supply in general, as in you have uninterrupted power supply during the entire day. She has said from the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. time in between, that is from 6 p.m. night to 6 a.m. there will be a stable flow of electricity. That is when the 50 megawatts will be supplied, and then from 6 a.m. throughout the course of the day up to 6 p.m. you have the 25 megawatts being supplied. So we should still do expect power outages in the country. She spoke about the issue of the drugs as well, that President Joseph Walker is concerned. The LDA boss, Colonel Abraham Krumah, has had a meeting with the president, or he made a statement during the joint security meeting that there should be an increment in the budget of the LDA. On the issue of the demolition in Catholic Junction, the Catholic community, the press secretary said the president has somewhat intervened because though it's a private matter, but there's been some sort of conversations held surrounding the demolition and the eviction of people who were legally asked to be evicted from the property belonging to the gay family. Other things were stressed on, especially on the issue of the continue, appointment or nomination and withdrawal of names as seen by the Executive Mansion website and evidenced by the letter on yesterday that was published from the presidency. Madam Fofana was quick to assert that is the president's constitutional prerogative, his constitutional right to appoint and withdraw appointments or nominations. But about the optics, she was somewhat, trying not to make it look as if the optics don't matter, though. But she did say the president is in charge. And though there's questions and concerns as to who's calling the shots, she has said President White is firmly calling the shots, and there's only one president in the Republic of Liberia. As to whether 10,000 vocational training or IT training to be provided for 10,000 individuals, whether that is going to be realized in the president's 100 days deliverable, as he did announce. Madam Fofana has put a dent in that due to the budget hasn't been passed, and though all of the formalities have been put in place, there is a green light once the budget is passed. Whether or not the budget will be passed within President Boyka's 100 days period, that is a question that can only be answered once that is done. But whether or not those 10,000 individuals that will be trained in the IT sector will be realized in the 100 days, there's a big question mark concerning that as well. She did announce that the president is going to address the nation after the 100 days period has elapsed. He's going to give us an assessment on his government's performance within the 100 days period, what they were able to achieve, what they were able to achieve, and what's the next phase of his development agenda for the country. Other issues of national concerns were touched on, but those are key points we thought to recap from the Presidential Press Secretary's briefing on this Friday. President Boyka at 7 p.m. this night will be having a fast-breaking event with the Muslim community of Liberia. The president has already extended through the Ministry of State with our portfolio, some sort of intervention gift to the Muslim community in the guise of rice and other packages. On the B Mountain situation, she also touched that the president has been briefed by the team. On behalf of the entire production team, they produced by Jurassic Israel Prince Joe. My name is Diamond Slanger on behalf of the Spoon Network, bidding you farewell from the parlors of the Executive Mansion. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.